Okay, I'm going to call finance to order. Public comment? Okay. All right, we have contracts for approval. Mr. Dahlberg, do you want to go through those?
Sure. We got a couple contracts tonight to go through. So New Hope Academy is student educational placement for a student identified 2019-08. Cost is $36,400. B, C, and D are Kids Piece. They are tutorial services for students that are in need of, they're in a medical placement, so they need two tutorial services while they're in their stay. E, Learn Well. This is another educational services for a student. Again, this is another, actually E and F is Learn Well for students that are in a medical situation again. So then we move on to G. Sorry, again, that's Learn Well. So we have three of those with those students, E, F, and G. Apologize. H and I are both Bucks County IU contracts. H is for the Title I Equitable Non-Public Services, and then the I is for the Title IIA Equitable Non-Public Services. So a portion of our school district's Title I and Title II federal dollars are removed from the district, and we have to provide those dollars to the non-public schools, and the districts in RIU have a contract each year with RIU to go out into those schools and provide those services, and it allows us to keep our staff in our buildings and not out in the non-public schools. So, okay, J, the Nemours Foundation. Again, this is another student placement for medical services, and this cost is for the education of this child while in that placement. K is Michael Fallon. He is going to give two performances, one at North and one at South this year. Last year he performed at South Middle School, and they are bringing him back and actually expanding it to North Middle School as well this year.
And actually, just a clarification, Mr. Dalbert, that those presentations are for next year. This is next September.
You're correct.
They are planning ahead.
They are planning ahead. Yep, absolutely. And L is Jill Miller. She is our Wilson language instructor, which is a reading program, and her cost is $50 an hour for her contract, and that is an ongoing service that we have in the district. And M is a settlement agreement for student identified as 2019-13. And that's it for contracts this month.
Do you know, for the performance for Michael Fallon, is that going to be building-wide? Are they doing 6th, 7th, and 8th grade?
I assume it's building-wide. I can see.
The reason I ask is just because we had him there last year, we're having him there next year, and if we are really happy with the performances that he does, it might make sense to do the whole building every 3 years, and then we're letting everyone participate if we think that that's a benefit to our students.
It doesn't say on the sheet what grades are.
I'll get clarification and send it to the board prior to the board meeting, because the contract does not say.
Correct. It does not.
And the students at AI, they are actually hospitalized in Delaware, is that correct?
Yes.
Sorry, Nemours, is it
Yeah,
AI?
yes, sorry, I had I was like, wait a second.
Right, it's all AI, it's never Nemours, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So this does not include transportation, I presume,
It
at this
does not.
cost?
Right.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
I got two. On the Learn Well, Sean, I was looking at that, there's 10 hours specified in the contract, right? And my question is, a piece of that contract says that there's an additional 1 hour of prep time for every 3 hours. Is that included in the 10, or is that in addition to the 10? So instead of 10, we're looking at 13 point and a half or something like that. 13. So that's in the attachment. Yeah. So it's the item 1, 10 hours of instructional services per week delivered individually or in a classroom. And then in the bottom it says a little bit of learn well bills an additional 33% for those services. Each hour of instruction delivered in any setting requires administrative and prep time.
Yeah, so it's 10 hours for the child's education, and then on top of that.
On top of that,
Yep.
okay, so there's additional
So they would
hours.
need
Third
to
to third.
meet the requirements under law for the hours.
That's fine, I just want to be sure
Yep.
that we know what we're signing on to here.
Yep.
And the second question I have is with the independent contractor, Jill Miller, Wilson Language. Is that open-ended? Is that as needed, or what's the, or is there a cap on that? I didn't see it, not to exceed, or I don't see, it just says for the 2018-19 school year.
Yeah, the contract does not have a cap on it. That is a service that is almost primarily used through the special ed department, so as they need that for
It's an
children,
as
so it's
needed.
controlled through the IEP process, as opposed to an open end for Ms. Miller to provide those services.
Okay. No. Got all my questions.
Okay.
Done.
Anyone else? No? Okay. Okay, and the last thing on the agenda is the Act 1 budget motion not to exceed the Act 1 index of 2.3%, which we already talked about our last meeting, and everybody was on board with that, so that'll go forward to the board meeting too, does anyone have any other concerns about that?
It's rolling the dice, but.
Yeah, yes indeed.
Okay. All right.
That's what we're doing.
Okay, so that just guarantees that we will not raise taxes, that it basically leaves that bar there that we can't raise taxes above 2.3%. So, okay, so if there's nothing else, we're back to public comment.
I have a comment if you could.
Okay, sure.
The presentation on the funding formula for the UBCTS was withdrawn tonight, and it was withdrawn because after talking to Mr. Sweda, Dr. Bolton about it, they requested that we do that in front of the full JOC board, which would be next Thursday night. That's what the intention is, and then we'll be back to present that here as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
And the next Finance Committee meeting is scheduled for November 13th, and that will again be in this room. We're back to public comment.
Sue Furlong, West Rockdale Township. I'd like to know why the amount for the settlement contract is not provided. We've protected the identity, but as a taxpayer, I'd like to know the size of the settlements that are going out.
Yeah, the second settlement was an error in terms of it being posted because it went up late, and so we will post the document when we post it and make sure that's on board docs. But the amount of the settlement for the second one that is there is $28,800.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Then we're adjourned.
Excellent.